Yeah. Good afternoon. Welcome to Course Approach. My name is Prakash. I have 8 years of experience in that IT field or and as well as the trainings also. Like today we are going to discuss about the full stack introduction. Now here the lot of people are confusing what's the mean by the full stack. What says like web development. Okay, that's a confusion. Okay, now before going to that, the introduction part, we need to know that like what is a full stack and what is important and why it is a trending in the market and how the layers are going to be communicating with the behind and a little bit introduction about the Java also. Now we can see that. Now, here the web development in the sense those who are developing that web applications. Now that web applications are in the sense the daily life we are using like a number of applications we are interacting like any type of applications. Now as a user we are interacting that applications. Now this type of applications is developed by the like web developers only. Okay, now we have a lot of web developers here. We have the first one for suppose now front end web developers. Okay, now second one back end web developers. Okay, back end web developers. Now like in third one like DBA, the DBA in this is like a database admin. Okay, now the final one. Okay, the final one. Now here we have a FSD, the full stack developer. Okay, the full stack developer here we have. Now here the front end developer here we have, back end developer we have, database admin here we have, the full stack developer here we have. Okay, now whatever that users, now we are interacting with that applications, this type of layers simply we can say that front layers. Okay, now these front layers are going to be designed by that front developers or front end developers. Now how they can develop it, how they are going to develop this type of layers here. Okay, now by using like some technologies, HTML, now CSS and JavaScript. Okay, now by using these three, they can develop that applications, that layers of front layers. Now, but in the case of by using these three only, we can develop, but it will take like 1.5 year time or 1 year time. Why? Now, by using these three, if I develop any application, it will take a lot of time and as well as the number of lines of code we need to write it. Okay, to avoid all those things simply here, now the frameworks are entered into the picture. Now React JS here we have, Angular JS here we have, the Vue JS here we have. Okay, by using this framework within a less time, now we can create that applications. Okay, it will reduce that development time. Okay, that's why the frameworks are entered into the markets. Okay, by using these three here, okay, by using these three, now we can develop a lot of time, but by using these three, we can develop that application within a less time. Okay, now here as a user, we cannot see that backend application that who developed which type of technologies we are using. But the backend technologies we know that Java or like a Python or .NET, okay, or .NET again like the Node.js. We can use like these backend applications. These are the backend technologies we can use it. Now here also we have the frameworks, all these things. Okay, as a database admin here we have the number of databases in the market here we have. Okay, now there is a MySQL, like Oracle, now DB2, like MongoDB. Okay, Sybase. Okay, now here like PostgreSQL. Now, a lot of these things here we have in the market. Okay, now trending in the market like we have the MySQL and MongoDB. These two things are like in the trending in the market as a database admin. Now, here if you observe like before COVID and earlier, any company or any industries, if they want to start like any project, now we need that like the front end developers and back end developers and the database admin. Okay, now why the FSGs are trending in the market? That's a point right now we are going to discuss here. Okay, FSG in the sense like the full stack developer. Okay, the full stack developer, FSD, the full stack developer. Now I have one requirement. Let later we'll discuss like FSD purpose here. For suppose I'm going to take like one company like Capgemini or something like I can take it. or any type of company you can take it. Now that company is given like one project. Now to complete this project, we need 6 months time. Okay, the 6 months time they spent on like some money, 20 lakhs. Okay, now for the 6 months I need to develop that application. I recruited two front end developers, two back end developers, one database admin. Okay, the 5 persons we need to complete that project. Okay, it will complete like it will take 6 months time. Now they're not working free, right? Now we need to spend some money on them. Okay, around like 15 lakhs I spent on them. Okay, finally I got the project. Okay, finally I got the project. The same requirement. Okay, the same project. Okay, the same time, 6 months. Okay, the same amount, 20 lakhs. Okay, 20 lakhs, and I recruited only three FSD developers. Okay, now I spent on only the 9 lakhs. Okay, now I got the same result. Then what is the benefit of these two things? What is the difference between them? Here, if you observe that, here I spent 15 lakhs on them, but here I got like less profit. But here I spent on that like only 9 lakhs on the 3 persons. Now I got like more profit here. Okay, now every industry is looking for the profits only. Okay, every industry is looking for the profits only here. Now, as a 3 FSD developer, okay, not only this profit as well as the time consuming, like here, it is one more deficiency also we have in that in the first case. For suppose like these 5 persons are working together. If any 2 person or 1 person are absent simply here, others cannot handle the project. Okay, they don't have any idea. For suppose the backend developers and database admins here we have, they don't have an idea about like what is the front end, what are the things they want to use it for the project. They don't know. Okay, even like two front end or two back end developers here we have, that these database persons are don't have an idea about that applications. Okay, that's also like one more defective. Okay, to avoid like all these things simply here, the FSD developer is using the purpose of FSD is what? Now he's having an idea about like a front end plus back end as well as the database. The both the thing, the three things have the entire idea about that application. Okay, now that is a power of FSD. Okay, not only like this point. Now the recruitment time. Okay, whenever the requirements here we got like, for suppose some company one is okay, some company one is like recruiting like front end developers, but as a FSD developers we are preference first. Okay, some company too is like recruiting like back end developers. As a FSD we have that entire idea, like we are the preference. Okay, for suppose like one more C3 company is like requirement like a DBA, database admin. But as a we are not a complete database developer, like we are having that complete idea about like database, not all the concepts even though, but everything here we have that. That here also we are the preference. Okay, means now the choices we have the more to select that any company we have the lot of choices. If you choose that FSD, okay, that much that's why is a trending in the market. Okay, now the FSD. Okay, now these are the things we are going to use in that points. Now for suppose that as a front end developers, like we need the technologies like HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Okay, now here what is the purpose of this HTML? Okay, this HTML is used to structure the website. Okay, the front website, the front layer simply. Okay, structure the website. Now what about like CSS? The CSS will style the website. Okay, style the website. This JavaScript is going to be interaction. Okay, interaction. Okay, now here for suppose if I select like this Flipkart application. Okay, now here everything is here we have. Okay, all the technologies here we are using. For suppose if I remove the CSS part, how this Flipkart application is looking like. See here, for suppose simply if I open the Flipkart, now I can open the web developers option. Now disable all the styles. Now see here. Okay, this is our Flipkart application. Okay, if Flipkart application will be like this simply here. We cannot understand like where I can interact, like how we can use it, all these things. Okay, simply as a user, if any application whenever we are creating, or like as a developer whenever we are creating that application, that user should be understand easily, the interaction should be easily, then only they can use it. The more customers are going to be interacting. Okay, now even though if you want to purchase like that 5 rupees chips packet, if you observe that on the chips packet little bit shiny and different images here we have, then simply they can they can increase the sales. The same as like that application also will be like that. Whenever we are developing or any application, that should be neat and clean and beautiful, the more interactive. Okay, now like that HTML, CSS and JavaScript is going to be working on the front end. As a backend side, okay, now whenever that a user is going to be interacting with that application, okay, whenever the user is going to be interacting with that application, now some type of URL is going to be created. That URL is going to be used by the backend developer. Okay, now for suppose simply if I interact that any application, if I go to the network option simply here, now whatever that interaction, if I interact that's here, automatically that URL is going to be created, which option I selected. Now some kind of events are going to be generated. Okay, this URL is going to be used by that the backend developer. By using this request, now the backend developer is working on like based on these his technologies, Java or Python or .NET or Node.js. Okay, that the backend will work. How about like database? So based on the user interactions, the data can be stored finally in the database. Now, whenever it is like authentication, like authorization checking, like the data going to be again fetching by using the URL, the REST APIs. Okay, they're going to check that they're going to communicate with each other. Okay, they're going to authenticate it if the valid user or not. Okay, like a valid person or not. They're going to check each everything, whatever the data stored in the database. Okay, now by using the database or data, now they will check that whether it's proper data is there or not. Okay, like that the interaction is going on with like each layers. Okay, now for suppose if you want to observe that, I'm going to go like that how the layers are working internally. Now for suppose simply I can create like one box. Now consider it is that like front layer. Now it is designed by that like one library, that is I can use React here. Okay, now in the backend I can work on like Java here. Now this is at a Spring Boot framework. Here we have like Spring framework or Spring Boot, like can be anything like Spring framework. Here we have. Now I'm using the Spring Boot applications. Now here I can use one type of database. Now you can use any type of database. Here I'm using like MySQL. Okay, I'm using MySQL. Now here as a front end, for suppose I have like one form. Okay, I have one form. In this form, here we have, okay, here we have username. Okay, username, password, like registered mobile number. Okay, registered mobile number. Okay, and again email ID. Okay, email ID we are going to enter. Finally we are clicking submit button. Okay, but if you take that any application directly, we are not going to log in into that application. Yes or no? We cannot log in into that direct application. It's not possible. First we need to sign up or we need to register data. Okay, whenever we are entering the data, okay, whenever we enter the data like that username and password, something like email ID, phone number, now we need to click on register button. Okay, register button. Now whenever I click on this button, the request is going to be sent to, okay, sent to the backend. Then how this request is going to be sent? Now internally in in the React, now we can use like Axios concept, the REST APIs. Okay, this Axios, like we have the different methods like a put, post, like a delete, get methods. This we have. Okay, the request is sent to like in the backend. Okay, again in the backend we have three layers. Okay, again we have in the backend the three layers. Now the first layer, now second layer, and again third layer here we have. Okay, now here the first layer we can say that controller layer. Okay, now here it is a service layer. Service layer, and repository layer or DAO layer. Okay, now these three layers are going to be interact with the backend. Now whenever the request is coming from that React or any like front end application, that it will enter into the first controller layer. Okay, within the controller layer, now we are going to write some number of rest endpoints, the number of methods or functions based on the request, which function need to be react. Now based on that function is going to be, it will enter into that service layer. Now within the service layer we are going to write a lot of validations and condition checking, like business logics, everything we are going to mention in the service layer only. Okay, if you want to write like any type of conditions, the conditions will going to be checking the service layer. Okay, from the service layer, now the data is going to be sent to like a DAO layer. From the DAO layer is going to be using to store the data into the MySQL in the database. Okay, now as a user details, already all the data going to be stored into the MySQL. Now as a user, after registration success, like I'm trying to log into that application. Okay, whenever the user is trying to log in that application, now we can send that like username. Okay, and again like password, and some type of button we can create it. Okay, a button we can click, like whenever I click on the login button, the request again sent to like a controller layer. Now the controller to service. Okay, within the service layer the data need to be validated. Now the DAO layer, okay, the DAO layer is fetching the data from the MySQL, and again from the DAO layer to service layer. Here the data going to be validated, okay, by using like authentication, like authorization, like which type of request is allowed, which type of request is not allowed, everything is going to be checking in that service layer. Okay, now some type of configurations also we can write it here. Now if it is a success, the request success, again it will send to the controller layer. The controller layer to finally the request is response is sent to that back like front end, that is a React application. Okay, here we are going to get like number of components in the React application. Okay, now this thing is going on in the like a complete like front end and the back end, that how the database is working. Okay, these are the layers in the, here we have in that every technology you can take it. Now this thing is going on. Okay, now then how the Java is going to be introducing here, like what is a little bit introduction here, we are going to see that. Okay, but suppose like before going to that little bit introduction about, like first we need to know that what is the mean by language. Okay, language in the sense what? Okay, now language in the sense what? Now we know that different languages, this word we are using daily life. What's the mean by language? Okay, now the communication between, okay, the communication between person to person. Okay, person to person. Now this to communicate with between person to person to perform some action. Okay, to perform some action. Now this process called we can use that some type of language. Okay, means the communication between the person to perform some action. Now we are going to use some languages. Okay, like the languages are like Telugu or Hindi or English or Marathi, like Gujarati, like anything, different types of languages we can use it. Now these languages we can call it's a general type of languages. Okay, general type of languages. For suppose I want to learn the programming language, then what is our programming language? Okay, language in the sense like normal language. Then what does it mean by like programming language? Okay, programming language in the sense like communication between. Okay, communication between like person to machine. Okay, the person to machine to use some type of programming languages. Okay, now here we have different programming languages in the market here we have. Okay, but how the machine can understand? Okay, the machine can understand like a binary code. Okay, means simply here the byte code. How this byte code is generating, like whenever the voltage fluctuations are like 0 volts or 5 volts, simply here because of this voltage fluctuations are like the like a binary code is going to be generated. Okay, the binary code is generated. Now here we have different types of languages in the market here we have. Okay, now before going to that, we have by using this programming language what we can develop. Okay, by using these programming languages what we can develop. Now we can develop some type of applications, okay, or softwares. Okay, by using this programming language we can develop applications or software. What type of applications? Now simply here I'm going to mention like some basic applications like that ATM applications, like uh, billing applications, and again calculator applications. Okay, calculator applications. Now we have number of applications, but as a user, as a developer, as a learner, now we are going to confuse that, like which type of applications here we have, how many number of applications here we have, lot of confusion. Okay, to avoid that, the industry people is suggested, okay, there are two types, they're divided into that applications two types now: standalone applications. Okay, standalone applications, and again distributed applications. Okay, standalone applications and distributed applications. What's the mean by the standalone? Okay, what's the mean by the standalone? Now the application, okay, the applications which we can run on our machine. Okay, now our machine, now without server or without network, this type of applications we can call it standalone applications. Okay, now the applications which we can run on our machine without server. Now we have some examples also for that standalone applications, like daily we are using like VLC media player, like AppRock reader, like antivirus. All these things are like standalone applications only. Okay, at the time of download and installation we require network, but after that we don't need any network. Automatically, like we can use it. But one more point here: by using these standalone applications, now we can't share the data. Okay, now we can't share the data across the globe. Okay, across the globe. Now wherever you are, we cannot share it by using like this VLC media player and Acrobat reader, all these things. Okay, at the time of download and installation we need network, but after that we don't need it. Okay, this type of applications we can call standalone applications. Now what about like distributed applications? The distributed in the sense, the applications, okay, now the application which we can run on server. Okay, this type of applications we can call distributed applications. Now for example, simply here we have like a Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram, like all these applications here we have that distributed. Okay, now we can share the data across the globe. Okay, we can share the data across the globe. Okay, wherever you are in the world, simply if you have the data, if you have the network, simply here we can share it. Okay, that's why the industry people suggested that standalone applications and distributed applications, like with server applications and without server applications. Okay, now here we have in the market we have different types of languages. Here we have like programming languages, procedure oriented languages, like logical oriented languages, scripting oriented languages, like module oriented languages, number of languages. But here I'm going to consider like a POP and OOP. Okay, what's the mean by that POP? Now POP in the sense like the procedure oriented programming languages. Okay, now OOP in the sense like object oriented programming languages. Okay, now object oriented programming languages. Okay, now under POP, now we have like A, B, C, like a COBOL, like Fortran, like all these languages under like POP. Here we have under OOP. Now we have like Java, like a Python. Okay, now .NET. Okay, now other things also here we have. But nowadays, why the OOP languages are trending in the market? Like, why not POP? The POP also trending in the market, but like not that much. For suppose, if you consider like 100% like that, so 75% is trending in the market with the OOP languages only. The POP is remaining 25% is going to be completing. But what's the reason behind that? Now, the points only like security and performance. Okay, now it will play the main role. Okay, now that POP languages are not giving that much security and performance. Okay, now to get that those two things, like any electronic device or any applications, if you purchase like the two things we are going to see that the performance and application. Okay, how that performance it's giving, what's the security it's giving, okay, how the data is going to be hiding, all these things we are going to check it. Okay, that's why like OOP is like trending in the market. Okay, now here the point is here how the Java is different from like other languages. Okay, Now security wise and performance is wise, like compared to like other technologies, Java is a more. Okay. Now here I'm going to differentiate that OOPS and OOPL. Okay. Now what's the difference between the OOPS and OOPL? Now OOPS in the sense like object oriented programming system, and OOPL in the sense like object oriented programming language. Okay. Now OOPS in the sense like it's a features or methodologies. Okay, methodologies. Now simply here, features or methodologies, simply here we can say that. But what are the features here we have? Okay, what are the features here we have? Now the first point here, like inheritance. Okay. Now second one, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. Okay. Now like this, now we can use it like inheritance and polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. These are the features. Now who developed this one? Now this developed by like it's OMG. It's not oh my god, like it's an object management group. Okay, object management group. Now developed by like a Canadian organization. Okay. Now these are the features. By using like inheritance and polymorphism, we can achieve the performance, and abstraction and encapsulation, we can hide the data and the security. Okay. Now these are about like the features or methodologies given by the Canadian organization. Now what does it mean by the OOPL? Now OOPL in the sense like object oriented programming language. Okay, object oriented programming language. Now the languages, okay, what are the languages I mentioned here? The languages which are using these features, simply this type of languages we can call object oriented programming languages. Okay, object oriented programming languages. Now here the point is here, how I can learn the Java. Okay, but suppose simply here, if I want to learn that like Python, I need to write the Python code. If I want to learn the Java, I need to write that Java code. Okay, if I want to go like .NET, and I want to go like .NET code. But all these things we need to do. But I want to learn with the Java. Now, what are the pre requisites? Okay, what are the prerequisites to learn Java? Okay, now the point is here. First, the point is like we need to download. Okay, second one we need to install it. Okay, now third one, we need that editors to write the code. Now fourth one, we need to save the file. Okay, we need to compile the file. Okay, now we need to execute the file. Okay, these things we need to do that. Now here, how we can download it? Now it's a free version. Okay, now earlier, basically here this the Java is coming from like in the year of 1995. Okay, now in the year of 1995, okay, now the James Gosling is introduced into the picture. The company name is like a Sun Microsystem. Okay, Sun Microsystem. Now before that Java, simply we have the name of Java is Oak. The latter they use it to like Java. Then how the name of Java is came into the picture? Now if you go to the Google, I'm searching for like now Java tourist places. If you observe that the images where we have that ancient places like that volcanoes and beautiful waterfalls like temples, okay, by seeing this line like this environment, like that James Gosling is decided that finally the name of Java here nowadays, like the Java is described as a tourist places also here in the Indonesia. Okay, like that the name of Java came into the picture here. Okay, now here the first version of Java is introduced into the picture in the 1995. That is a beta version. Okay, beta version. Now, if you observe that, if I go to the like a Java Wikipedia, now, see here, scroll down. Now, see here, the May 23rd, 1995, 30 years is completed. There is no up and downs for Java till now. Okay, now he is the father of Java, James Gosling, the creator of Java. Okay, now here the versions, if you observe that the beta version here we have the 1995. After that like 1.0, 1.4. After 1.4 they designed as that like versions like 567. But here something like the current version of Java is like 24 is running. Okay, recently like that 18th March is released into the market. But if you observe something like LTS versions, okay, LTS in the sense what? Now it's a long term support. Okay, LTS in the sense what? It's a long term support. Now means that every version whenever we are learning as a like fresher, as a like developer, whenever we are learning that the LTS versions are best for us to learn it, okay, without changes anything, that version to version they're going to change it. But like the LTS versions are like still be there. Okay, that eighth version can support like up to 2030. Okay, we can use that. That's that long term support here. Okay, but after some years, like this Sun Microsystem is like owned like all the copyrights to like Oracle Corporation. Now the Oracle is owned that all the copyrights of from Sun Microsystem. Now the Java is handled by that Oracle only. Okay, now whenever the Oracle is received that all the copyrights from that like Sun Microsystem, the Oracle again released it into the Java into three editions like JSE, like JW and JME. Okay, JSE in the sense like Java Standard Edition. Okay, JEE Java Enterprise Edition. Okay, JM this is like a Java Micro Edition. Okay, now Java Standard Edition. Now means if you want to develop the standalone applications, we can use that JSE. Now by using core Java also we can develop these applications. Okay, it's standalone applications. Now by using like JEE, like we can develop the distributed applications like both core Java and like advanced, we can develop these applications. Now it's at like mobile edition or mobile type of applications that we can develop by using like J. Okay, the Oracle now it's a free source and open source now. Okay, free source and open source now. Now to learn the Java simply here, we need these things like that. We need to download and we need to install, we need to editors, and we need to save the file, we need to compile the file, we need to execute the file. How we can download the Java simply here? We can go to the Google. Now simply here download Java. Okay, now you can click on that. Oracle is a company here. Java like http colon www.oracle.com. It's a free source. Okay, free link. If you open this one, click on the first link. If you scroll down here, the current version is a 24. If you want to use it, the 24, you can use it. Now, if you want to go with like lower version, scroll down here. Now there we can see that like Windows or which version. Okay, which one like you want, like that Linux or Mac OS or Windows. Okay, based on your like, platform simply here, you can select whatever that you want. Okay, 17 or 11 or anything. Now, after that installation, we need to do that. After installation, we need that editors. Now we have different editors in the market. Like we have Notepad, okay, Notepad and Notepad plus plus. Okay, like that IDEs also we have like IDE like Eclipse and IntelliJ. Okay, NetBeans. All these things here we have to work with like to write the code. After writing the code in the editors, like we need to save the file. Okay, after saving the file, like we need to compile the file. Okay, now what's the mean by compile the file? Okay, now whatever the code we are writing, that is a different types of extensions here we have that based on the technologies we have the different types of extensions here we have. Okay, if it's a text now dot txt here we have. If it's html dot html here we have. Okay, if it's a css dot css here we have. Okay, if it's javascript it's a dot js here we have. Okay, if it's java dot java file here we have. But as a Java person, I wrote like the Java file. Okay, now but the machine we need to execute that, but the machine cannot understand directly this Java code. Okay, now we need something. Okay, we need the dot class file. Okay, then how this dot class file is going to be generating at what time? Now this dot class file is going to be generated by using compilation process. Okay, what's I mean by compilation? Okay, what does I mean by compilation? The process of converting. Okay, the process of converting. Okay, now dot Java file to dot class file is called compilation. Now who will do this compilation? Now the compilation will do that compiler. Okay, now converting like one type of data to another type of data, or one type of form to like another type of form, like one type of language to one type of language. Now we can use the compiler is going to be converting. This process is called compilation. In the real time, like we can use like translator to understand like that both the language. We are going to use the translator. Okay, the translator is that like best to understand like both the languages. They can he can transfer the both the languages. Okay, the process is called translation. Now here the translation and compilation, translator and compile. Okay, now the dart class file again it's converted into machine code. Now finally it will execute it. Okay, now to execute that, to compile directly, there's no compilation, we cannot do that. Now we have the syntax for the compilation. Now java c space like file name dot java. Okay, for execution. Okay, for execution, now we need that application. There is a java space class name. Okay, java space the class name. Now this is the syntaxes to use it. Now if you want to create like that all these things now for every program or for every technologies we have some type of structure here we have. Okay, we have some type of structure. Okay, how the java can be write it. Now in java we have like around 53 keywords here we have. Okay, within the 53 keywords like we cannot use like two keywords are unused. Now there is a go to and a constant. Okay, remaining like 51 keywords here we have. These 51 keywords are okay. If you completed these 51 keywords, the core Java is done. Okay, once the core Java done, like automatically, advanced Java is also like easy to understand. Now, what is the structure here? Now here we can write like that class. It should be there, like it's a mandatory for every program. If you want to write it, now the class keyword is going to be representing. Now in Java, all the keywords are going to be representing with a lowercase only. Okay, now we are going to write some class name. The class name can be anything, whatever you want, like you can write it, but that should be starting with the capital case. It is a naming convention to follow that to create a class. Okay, now class and class name. The class should be open, the class should be closed. Okay, within the class, now it is a mandatory to write a main method. Why that's mandatory? Now without this main method, simply we cannot execute. Now the starting point of program of Java is like a main method only. Okay, now then how I can write that method, or how I can write the main method. Okay, that name is like a public static void main. Okay, within the parenthesis, now we can write like a string args of array. Okay, now here curly brace open and close within the main method. Now if you want to print anything Java, now we can write system dot out dot println, we can write it. Okay, println. Now here we can write like that hello world. Okay, now like this we can use to now create that class. Okay, now each keyword has a separate like a explanation. Here we have that what is a public and what is a static and what is a void, what's a main. Public in the sense like it's here it's access modifier. Okay, here the JVM is responsible to check that the valid properties are there or not, the main method is properly arranged or not, everything is going to be checking by the JVM. Here the Java virtual machine is responsible to execute the main method. Okay, why that main method is static and why the void, like why the main. Okay, this main method is not properly arranged, the JVM cannot be execute this like class. Okay, now before going to execute that JVM, simply first it will check that main method properly is there or not. Okay, that's the main point here. Okay, now by using now these syntax is simply here we can execute our code. Okay, but suppose if you want to execute that, now simply I can go with that. I can go to the desktop, I can create like one file. Now new, create like one text document. This text document I need to convert like Java file. Now go to the file, now save as. Okay, first we can write the code, that's better. I'm writing like a class. Okay, there is a test. Now within the class we are going to write like that public static void main. Now within the parenthesis, now we can write a string args of array. Okay, the curly brace is open close. Now here the system is a class, that's why we are writing like the capital case. Now system dot out dot println. Okay, now println. Now within the println you can write that welcome hello world. Okay, now hello world. Okay, but it's a like Java code, but like it's not a Java file. Okay, if you want to execute and if you want to compile, we need the dot Java file. That Java file is like user understandable. It's not a machine understandable. Now go to the file simply. Now save as like a, I'm creating same as like last time. Now test.java. Now save as type is all files. Okay, now save it. The file is created on that sphere. If I place the cursor, it is Java file. If I place the cursor, it is a text document. If I place the cursor, it is a Microsoft Word document. Okay, different files having different extensions. Now, then how I can execute that? Now go to the CMD. Okay, now we got the .java file. Now simply what is the syntax for the compilation? Now java c space file name .java. Now test.java. If I execute that, we are going to get okay, now executed. Now what is the execution? Java space file name. Now sorry, class name. Now we got like hello welcome, but I think like we wrote it's a different thing. Okay, but this one is a different like in the path also we have, I think like test file is there. But suppose here I can go to that CMD. Now here I can search with like a java c space test.java. Now compilation success. Now java space test. Now here we got like hello world. Okay, like this we can compile it. Now here in this case one dot class file is going to be created. This dot class file is read by the JVM. After compilation of JVM, simply here it's executed this dot class file, it's converted into a machine code. Now this dot class file as a user we cannot understand it. Okay, this it can be understood by the machine, but dot java file as a user we can understand. Okay, but dot class file we can understand. Now simply like this we can execute like hello world program. Okay, now that one more point we missed, like how the java is unique to compare to like other languages. Now we have that the 2 points. The first one is like a platform independent, and again second one garbage collection. Okay, what's I mean by the garbage collection and the platform independent? Okay, platform independent. Independent means like it will not dependent on any type of platform. For suppose simply here I'm using Windows. Okay, now I'm learning right now like Java. Now I have one .java file. Okay, I have like the one .class file. Okay, my friend also wants to learn that the Java simply, but he has like Linux platform. Okay, but he wants to, I shared that the same file with my friend, like he also executed perfectly. Okay, he executed perfectly. Okay, now simply here which type of platform you are using other side, simply it's not a matter. Now it simply executed. That's why the Java is so like following some type of like slogan, that's a aura. Like aura in the sense like a write once run anywhere. Okay, write once run anywhere. Now here you can use like Linux and Solaris and Mac OS or Windows. Now the same thing you can use it, no issue on that. Means it will not dependent on which type of a platform you are using other side. Simply we can execute. Okay, but suppose like here we have that like .NET is there, like it's developed with the Microsoft. Now for suppose I'm using like a Windows. Now other side also like here we are using Windows, like then only we can execute it. Now here we have the dot class file, and other side also dot class file, then only we can execute. Instead of that Windows, like I'm using like the Linux, simply no, we cannot execute that. Why? Now it is a platform dependent language. Okay, it will not dependent sorry, but in the case of Java it will not dependent which type of platform you're using other side. But in the case of here, which type of platform you're using other side, also you need to use the same type of platform. Otherwise simply here it will not going to be executed. Okay, that's why we can say that the Java is a platform independent language. Now, what about like a garbage collection? Garbage in the sense like a trash. Now, whenever we are writing, like whenever we are using like any type of applications, if you're using continuously, that application little bit slowing down. Why? Why in the sense that every application needing some memory space to run it, to execute that. Now, the same way here, we have that the garbage collection is going to be collecting like unwanted data. Whenever that application is running, the background like garbage or trash is going to be collected by the garbage collector only. Okay, for suppose simply here I want to create a one project. For the project we need 1,000 variables. Okay, for this 1,000 variables, like uh, uh, like each variable has okay, each variable has the 4 bytes. Okay, if it is 1,000 variables, like we need like 4,000 bytes here we need. Okay, 4,000 bytes we need. Now for these 4,000 bytes, okay, for these 4,000 bytes, then how it's going to be working? Now for suppose I created like 1,000 variables, means like it will create like 4,000 bytes of memory spaces. Now currently I'm using only like one variable. Okay, currently I'm using only one variable, but one variable I'm using like 4 bytes memory space is covered. But what about like remaining triple line variables? It is a waste of memory only, right? It's a unwanted I created, but a future purpose I created, but I'm not using right now. Okay, in this case the remaining triple line variables, okay, the triple line variables like memory space, okay, memory space is collected by the garbage collector. Okay, the remaining space is collected by the garbage collector. Now here in the other languages, simply explicitly we need to write the code to collect all these unwanted data, but in the case of Java we are not going to write any single code. Now it will collect automatically. Okay, we don't need to write like any coding for that to collect unwanted data. Okay, now here like this we can use in Java in the real time. And that real time also we can use like different types of applications, like that huge and big type of applications, like we can use Java to provide security and performance also. Now by using these garbage collections also we are going to get a little bit performance. Okay, now that's why like Java still be there. The big enterprise applications are using like still Java only. Okay, now that's why like Java is there's no like up and down for the Java, still it's a trending in the market. Okay, now that's why FSD, in the sense like once we learned of all the technologies, we don't need to worry about like we are not going to depend sound like that other technologies also. Like once you learn FSD, like any type of technologies we can learn. Okay, that much capacity we have that. Okay, that's about like a today introduction. Like if you're looking for live course, check video description and visit website and follow us on social media for course. Like any updates, okay, you can follow it. Yeah, now that's all for today.
Thanks for watching. Please check out the description for live sessions if you're looking for, and also visit our website, Course Approach, for full details and next steps. See you there. Thank you.